Welcome back, orchestra. Today we're looking at 3.6 bow beat and 3.7 fiddlesticks. We're going to be talking about and introducing time signature 2/4 time, which means 2 beats per measure, of course, and that the bottom number tells us the quarter note gets the beat because it's a 4. So in 2 beats per measure, you can tell already that it only counts up to beat 2 for each measure. So you would count 1 and 2, and if you had all eighth notes, or just 1, 2, if you had quarter notes and such. So let's talk about how we're going to do a recording first for 3.6, and then we'll break it down for you to see why it's that way. Okay, so I have my bow, and again, I want you to air bow and count 3.6. Okay, so I have my bow. I can see myself in the camera, and I'm going to have my metronome on at 6 beats per minute. Let's get started. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2, 1. There's no repeat sign, so that's what your recording should sound like and look like when you air bow and count 3.6 for your recording. Then let's go to 3.7, and we're going to play that first for you, and then we're going to break that down as well. So here it is with the violin. Here we go, 3.7 fiddlesticks, and what it should look like and sound like, at least on the violin, but it's going to sound pretty much the same for the cello and viola. Ready and go. And that's what your recording should sound like pretty much for 3.7 fiddlesticks, okay? Okay, so let's break down 3.6 bow beat. All right, so we have our bow directions written for us. We have the counts written as well, so that we can know what it's supposed to look like and where the counts are falling. Now, in this example, it shows you 1 and 2 and for every measure. But of course, when you're air bowing and counting, you're just going to be counting the number when the sound is being made where the note head is, of course. So you'll notice that right underneath the first measure on the first quarter note, we have a beat 1. There is an and next to it, but we don't say that because there's no other note on the and beat. It's just that quarter note. So it'll just be 1, and the same thing for beat 2, 2, okay? Now on measure 2, we have those 2 eighth notes. The first eighth note gets beat 1, and the second eighth note gets the last half of beat 1. So that's 1 and then you have the beat 2 as a down bow by itself, and of course you don't say the and after that, and that follows suit for the rest of the exercise. And we get to measure 8, the very last measure there, and it's just a down bow on beat 1 that you say because the and of beat 1, the 2, and the end of beat 2 are being played already from the half note. So break it down a little bit at a time. Let's go over the first 2 measures first. We'll not use the metronome for now, but we want to go over what it should look like and feel like. So we have a down bow on the first 2 measures, beat 1, then 2, and then eighth notes 1 and the down bow 2. Okay, so that's breaking it down without a beat. Here it is now as it's supposed to be air bowed and counted. 1, 2, 1 and 2. Okay, here it is again, just the first 2 measures. 1, 2, 1, and 2. Now, what's interesting about the next measure is that it's the same exact rhythm, but the bowing is flipped because we start the first eighth note on an up bow and the second eighth note on a down bow rather than the other way around, and that quarter note is an up bow. So let's hear now for the first 3 measures what it should look like, and when you air bow and count it. 1, 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Okay. Then we have the 2 quarter notes. It's pretty easy to do. And then we flip the rhythm on measure 5 and measure 6. And we, instead of having 2 eighth notes at the beginning, we have the 2 eighth notes at the end of the measure. So let's start from measure 5 this time. That's where it's the quarter note and the 2 eighth notes the first time. And it's a down bow. So we have 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. So down, up, down, up, down, up. Then 2 quarter notes and a half note. All right, so practice it by yourselves just a little bit at a time, and please pay attention to the bow directions there so you know what's happening. Now let's take a look at 3.7. Now, hint, it's the same exact bowing and rhythm as 3.6, except now we're adding pitches to it. So now we're going to play the melody as written there and the fingerings for that. So I'm going to get my cello real quick because I did the violin already and break it down for you. So on 3.7 fiddlesticks, we have the first note as an open A. Then we have B. So let's practice that just real quick. We're going to play A, B. Okay. We know the next beat, beat is going to be 2 eighth notes, and then the following beat is a quarter note up bow, and all 3 notes are C sharps. So it's C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, or down, down, with cello 3 fingers on the A string, or violin, viola 2 fingers. So here's measure 1 and measure 2. Here it is again. Ready and go. All right. Then we do the same exact rhythm on that high D. That's 3 fingers on the A string, violin, viola, 4 fingers cello. So here is measures 1, 2, and 3. So we have A, B, 3 C sharps, and 3 high Ds. Ready and go. Okay. Then we have measure 4 as a C sharp and a B. Okay, so that's the opposite, going back down to an open A, what we just played, but as quarter notes. So here are the first 4 measures. So slowly, A, B, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, high D, high D, high D, C sharp, B. And notice how I made those quarter notes longer than the eighth notes because, of course, they're longer notes, all right? So don't rush that. Then let's look at measure 5. We have A, open A, then 1, 1, or B, B as eighth notes. Let's try measure 5. We have A, B, B. Okay, try it again. Ready and go. Then we go to measure 6, and we have C sharp, D, D, or C sharp, high D, high D. That's, again, 2 fingers violins, violas, and 3 fingers cellos for C sharp, and then high D, high D. And that's that 3rd finger violin, viola, or that 4th finger cellos. So here's measures 5 and 6, starting on the A. Ready and go. A, B, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, high D, high D, high D. I'm sorry, that was A, B, B, C sharp, high D, high D. So I played that wrong. Here it is again, 5 and 6. A, B, B, C sharp, high D, high D. Okay. Then we go to measure 7 and 8, and it's just, again, the same thing we did at measure 4 for C sharp, B, and then at half note A for a much longer bow. So here are the last 4 measures, starting at measure 5, A, B, B, C sharp, D, D. Ready? Go. A, B, B, C sharp, high D, C sharp, B, A. Okay. So again, here's 3.7 all together without a metronome at least. Okay, again, make sure that last note is a half note, so make sure it's longer than the rest of the notes that you've had previously. Try it slowly, a little bit at a time, just like we did the air bowing on 3.6 for 3.7, and you'll get much better at it. So good luck on recordings, and I can't wait to hear them.